I'm not sure if I'm just being lazy or if I'm an absolute genius, but I've been throwing a gain plugin on my master bus for quite a while now, and I throw it at the beginning of my chain. And it started out as I was working with producers in the studio and other artists in the studio. I want to stay as creative as I possibly can because our brains really have about an hour and a half to 2 hours of really solid creative effort before the law of diminishing returns happens and things start to get a little bit more difficult as far as the creative side of things go. So if you can make sure that that first hour and a half to 2 hours is as creative as possible, you're going to be golden. And so instead of me having to go through it, adjust the gain structure and going into the mixing all the time when I'm having an artist sit here in the studio, because they'd be sitting there scrolling on their phone and they're just kind of getting bored and they're kind of getting out of that creative vibe, I would just throw a gain tool right at the beginning of the master bus. And as I was sending too much signal there, instead of going through and trying to adjust everything, I could just grab the gain and I could turn it down so that way I wasn't clipping into the next plugin. So this is all about gain staging. If you're unaware of gain staging is basically making sure that each plugin and each thing that you add to the signal is not clipping the next one in line. So for example, I have SSL X Saturator here. It's a saturation plugin, and I have the drive cranked to a significant amount, but as I was cranking the drive, it was also increasing the volume. So I took the output gain and brought it down to make up for that. So that's how that works. Now, each plugin will then go into the next plugin and then go into the next plugin. And so you can have a stack of so much stuff being built in. So by the time it actually goes to the output or goes into one of the plugins here in the chain, it's starting to clip. And digital distortion and digital clipping does not sound very good. And so you're probably also wondering, why don't I just grab all of my faders here and then just select them all like this and turn them up or down? Well, you can do that. I do a thing called top-down mixing, which most people do as well. A lot of people do top-down mixing, or at least a lot of people have buses that they process everything with. And so if I turn down the drums faders here, up or down, it's going to affect how much signal goes to the bus of the drums. And so it's going to completely change my compression. And it's going to completely change how my compressors are reacting to that signal because the threshold is set. So just grabbing all faders and turning them up or down will also change the gain structure at the bus level as well. And so just to save me some time, instead of going in and doing all of that more technical stuff, I would just throw a gain plugin at the beginning. And that would clear things up so that way I could turn it down just a little bit, and then I could send it to the artist and we'd be off to the races. And then later I could do proper gain staging during the mixing phase. But what I started to do was I started leaving the gain plugin on the master bus. And I'll kind of explain why. It sounds different with different signals going through it. All plugins will sound different with different amounts of signal going through. So right here I have a really, really simple mastering chain. I have the gain plugin. I have Infected Mushroom Pusher, which is just a mastering plugin. And then the final plugin is how you guys are able to hear the signal going in to my recording software. That's it. It's not doing any processing at all. So that's literally it. Now I'm going to play this section of the song and really pay attention to how it's sounding, but also pay attention to how much signal is here down at the master bus. It's going to be negative 0.1 because that's what I like to set things at. Just give myself just that 0.1 dB of signal, so that way smaller phone speakers and things like that can handle that. So take a look. That is never going to change right here. So if I open up the gain plugin here and I crank this up or down, it's going to completely change the way that this master chain sounds. And it's not going to change how loud this actually gets over here. It's going to sound different. It's going to sound louder, but the actual signal is going to remain the same because that mastering plugin is not allowing anything to go more than that signal. So as I bring this up, I'm going to bring this up by around 3 or 4 dB, and I'm going to bring it down by around 3 or 4 dB as well. And notice how this never really changes, the actual signal itself, but the way it sounds changes. So as I bring the gain up, I'm hitting that plugin a bit harder and I'm starting to cause some distortion. And as I bring it down, it starts to clear things up. Now, with that being said, I can adjust this on the fly. I have a proper gain structure set up, so if I leave this at 0, it still sounds great. But if I wanted a bit more punch out of it, I could bring it up by a dB or 2. Or if I wanted some clarity, I could bring it down by a dB or two. Yeah, and it sounds fantastic. And so even though I have the gain structure set up properly and everything's doing great, just having one more tool to adjust that gain structure going into the next plugin, especially on the master bus, is so helpful. If you like this video, you're probably going to love my session breakdown. I have a full session breakdown of one of my songs. It's free. You even get the stems for free as well. Link to that will be down in the description below. Go check it out. I'm sure you're going to love it. And there's another video on my channel that I'm sure you're going to love that's right over here. All right, I'll talk soon, and peace.